I think you did the rightest thing you could sending the power back to Edgewater. A lot of people would have suffered otherwise. People I care for. Even if they ain't care much for me. That's on account of how I never met her. I don't rightly know. She was in another division of the Spacer's Choice family. She worked in the Vale a few months, sorting the cannery computers. Her contract said any kids she had, expected or not, belonged to her office from the time of conception. Well, I don't know about normal. Dad said she worked under some kind of special contract. It's sensible. Dad just fixed machines. She did some kind of crazy math, high-level stuff. Better to raise me on his time than hers. Oh, right. About the Groundbreakers engineer, Junlei Tennyson. I was thinking that maybe I ought to meet her. If you got time to swing us by, I mean. I don't got much experience fixing actual spaceships. I bet you a can of Borston beans she could teach me all manner of stuff. Thanks, Captain. I'll be sure to make it worth your time. Did you want to talk about anything else before we moved on? Sure thing, Captain. I'll be waiting back at the Unreliable if you need me.
That's not the point. This halfwit just knocked out one of my workers.
Yeah, with a toss ball stick.
Customs and inspection, right this way!
You don't pay your docking fees, your ship gets seized. I seen it happen. Huh? What?
I better take a look.
Mine's playing tricks on me. What was that? I better take a look. What was that? Attack! I don't want to die! I don't want to die!
Don't hurt me! Open fire!
I don't want to die!
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt a regularly scheduled advertising. The board would like to remind spectators.
Identification, please. You've got a ship, but you've never visited Groundbreaker. You must have just dusted off from one of those dirt-side outposts. Well, welcome to Groundbreaker. I'm sorry to tell you this, but I'm about to ruin your day. According to your ship's record, you've been flagged by the board. Your ship will be impounded until such a time as they see fit to lift it. Not stuck, per se. You could always throw yourself out the airlock. Of course, then you'd find yourself with an exciting new problem. Access to that information is above my pay grade, and I've turned down 3 promotions, so it stays that way. I shouldn't be mentioning it, but what the hell? This here, impounding your ship, it doesn't happen much. The board knows we don't take kindly to their interfering in our operations. If I had to take a guess as to why, you probably riled up the wrong petty board bureaucrat, a man named Udom Bedford. You take the starch out of him, well, you won't hear any complaints from me. Oh, and if you're headed that way, would you mind doing me a favor? Wanda Dorset over in sickbay, tell her the shipment's not in yet. It's not coming in anytime soon, and if she'd be so obliged to get off my ass about it. Much appreciated. Is there anything else I can help you with? The fence. You'll find her in the rest and go, on your left when you enter the promenade. Make sure you bring an empty belly. He's friendly enough unless you speak ill of the board. Get the sense he doesn't care for Groundbreaker much. Not that he would, being a board man and all. He's our liaison. Really likes his cereals, too. Maybe a little too much. Bit of a weird bird, all told. Most places are on the promenade deck. Big door yonder, straight through security. There's a bar on the starboard side. I got a preference for the Lost Hope myself. Talk to Vera. She'll set you right. You need anything else? You let me know. Don't want anyone saying Groundbreaker's not the most hospitable port in the colony. Be seeing you.
following story. The board would like to remind spacers and other travelers that passage to Monarch is restricted for your protection.
Rizzo's Purpleberry Punch. You want a punch? We got your punch right here.
You know that sound when you've snapped on an injector clip? Ah, that's how you know your weapon loves you back. I got a full line of weapon modifications I'd be happy to show you. What do you think you're doing? Just keep your fingers to your own self, okay? Go back to Byzantium, you gold-plated bastards.
Yeah, no one wants you on Groundbreaker.
These stairs are board property. Disperse now, or I'll detain you for trespassing.
Oh, real scary. You're really gonna arrest us on...
Ah, yes. Wheeler messaged me you were coming. He must be the captain of the Unreliable, a vessel that used to be helmed by one Alex Hawthorne. And you are not he. Has something happened to my favorite scruffy freelancer? What? I'm sorry? I'm quite certain I heard Wells. Phineas Wells. But you... It's always like this with you tramp freighter captains. Fine. You're free to go. I've removed the impound order on your ship. But before you go, I did have one request. Alex promised to tell me the location of Phineas Wells. I'm sure you've seen his wanted posters all over the colony. Did Alex tell you where Wells might be? Anything at all? You haven't read the posters? He's a terrorist, a thief, a madman. It's really in the colony's best interest that we stop him before he does further harm. That's... well, that's just terrible news. Law, what am I going to do now? The board will have my head. Oh, I'm sorry. This is terribly unprofessional of me. Is there anything else I might help you with? It's personal business, I'm afraid. Miserably, terribly personal. Information on the whereabouts of Phineas Wells would go a long way. It's... well, it's my white whale, I suppose. All right, I suppose. How might I assuage your fears? Whom else would I work for? Those sublight thugs? That Tennyson woman? The sweaty masses in the groundside townships? The board is the only force for order in this rough-and-tumble colony of ours. Without them, we'd all starve to death or meet our end in a canid's jaws. That's a curious question. I can't say I've ever considered how my personal satisfaction factors into the work I do. Permit me to answer your question in another way. In Byzantium, I was one among many. I often felt, lost in the hurry and expanse of the capital. Here, I have a measure of power and suffer little oversight. It makes for a different kind of loneliness, but it's one I've found I can endure. Yes, do tell. Indeed. And you know where he is? Excelsior! An apprehension of this caliber will be tremendous for my career. I'll send you straight away to my superiors in Byzantium, only... Oh, no. Oh, no. Just a teensy one, the teensiest. Nothing to, lie awake worrying about for nights on end or anything. The thing is, I needed money. A lot of money, quickly, for reasons. I might have pawned my official board seal to Gladys, the black market fence here on the Groundbreaker. I can't authorize the paperwork you'll need to turn Phineas in without it. It's only temporary, of course. I'd never leave something so important in the hands of someone of such a dubious moral character. I was going to buy it back once I raised the capital. So you'll need to get my seal back from her if you want to hand Phineas over to the board. Oh, it might surprise you. There's no call for that kind of talk. Fine. You see, I really do need that seal. Rather desperately, actually. I can't grant you access to Byzantium without it. If the board learned of my foolishness, why... by the law, they'd fire me. I absolutely would not. The board isn't even the worst of it. Gladys intends to sell it to the highest bidder. She's demanded I provide her with proof of its authenticity. And if I refuse, she'll have those goons at Sublight Salvage throw me down the waste disposal shaft. A spicy little pickle entirely of my own making. How do you do? Ah, how might I assist you? You've changed your mind? Fine. You see, I really do need that seal. Rather desperately, actually. I can't grant you access to Byzantium without it. If the board learned of my foolishness, why... by the law, they'd fire me. No, please, hear me out. Gladys intends to sell it to the highest bidder. She's demanded I provide her with proof of its authenticity. And if I refuse, she'll have those goons at Sublight Salvage throw me down the waste disposal shaft. Go, ask Gladys yourself. She doesn't care who knows. I'm sure she'd be thrilled to tell you she got foolish old Udom over a barrel. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I'm certain Gladys can be made, well, can probably be made to see reason. I'll be waiting eagerly for your return. Now, is there any way in which I might assist you?
I'm not going anywhere, you hear? You can't get me out of there.
Please don't make a scene, Dr. Fenhill.
I am not making a scene.
I'm sorry about the heat. Chief Tennyson will get the radiators fixed soon. Of course, this heat sure makes a zero-G brew extra refreshing. It's an ale that's good for what ails you. Oh, and it's not the best choice, it's Spacer's choice. Taste the freedom. A lot of slogans to keep track of. And sometimes I forget. Have a look.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled...
Bless my heart. A stranger come knocking on a poor old woman's door. You here for a particular reason? Or did the neighbors tell you how good my sugar cookies are? Made without a single natural ingredient, or an oven. Just like store-bought. Those have been the height of illegality since Stellar Bay turned their noses up at the board. You and I could be thrown to the void just for discussing such a transaction. Lucky for us, Groundbreaker's a free port. We're outside of the board's control. For the time being, at least. Now, I only have the one nav key. And they're hard to come by these days. It won't be cheap. If you find yourself lacking in the bits, I might have an opportunity you'd be interested in. Phineas, that old kook. He was quite the dancer back in his prime, did he tell you? Real light on his feet. Real light on the wallet, too. He still owes me a small fortune. Laws, maybe I should charge you double. Well, I find I'm in need of a ship captain with a little moral flexibility. Might be this could help out the Groundbreaker, as well as earn some bits. But if you've got qualms... Do you know Edna, over in engineering? Sweet as a pea, that one. On occasion, she'll pass along transmissions I might find interesting. She sent me a recording of a distress signal she'd scraped from the Groundbreaker's comm array. Curious thing is, It came from an outpost called Roseway. And Auntie Cleo abandoned that place years ago. You've got an ear for intrigue and a nose for bits. I like that. Here's a copy of the SOS recording, complete with the coordinates. If you should find a secret worth selling, might be I could find a buyer. Corporate bigwigs will pay top bit for inside information on their competitors. The more we got the corps fighting each other, the less time they got to meddle in our affairs. Don't forget to come find old Gladys when you're done. I found a handsome ceramic mandapillar at a salvage auction last week. Gracious. I was just sitting down for tea. Yes, dearie? Take that darling ship of yours down to Roseway, where that distress signal I told you about came from, and ferret out some tasty corporate secrets for old Gladys. Shouldn't be too tough for a lass like you, I'd think. Depends. What are you planning to do with it? I hate to gainsay you, sweetheart, but seeing how the stamp's in my possession and not yours, I'd say it's every bit my business. See the lights. Taking a show or two at the infamous Bijou. Could be a treat if you like that kind of thing. All right, I'll sell it to you. But it's gonna cost you dear. Anything else, dear? Yes, dear. Which offer were you interested in? You could always try your hand at landing in Cascadia if you're interested in dying horribly. Pick your poison. Marauders, wild beasts, acid lakes, bottomless sinkholes. If you're looking to die, Cascadia's happy to oblige. Landing pad on Monarch. You don't need a nav key to access it, so it's got that going for it. But it's also kilometers away from Stellar Bay, and the Monarch wilds ain't exactly safe. Might be best to, yes. Suit yourself. Yes, dear. Which offer were you interested in? You could always try your hand at landing in Cascadia if you're interested in dying horribly. Might be best to, yes. Suit yourself. What do you want, then? My hard-earned wisdom? Anytime, sweetheart. You know where to find me. Here, take a candy with you.
This is Halcyon News.
Rizzo's Purple Berry Punch. Flakes and Purple Berry flavored Power Nuggets. Now with 12% more crunch.
Hey, you got a second? Hey, we don't know each other yet, but I'm Felix Millstone. I was in the middle of a little discussion with the local authorities when you passed me by. I noticed your ship in port. Got to thinking you might be looking for some crew, so I wandered by. Just to take a closer look. Gotta hand it to you, boss. That's a fine-looking ship. Only thing it's missing is me. What? No. No. Okay, yeah, maybe a little. I'm not trying to be all creepy-like. I just want to make a good case for myself. Just give me a shot. That's all I'm asking. I could be the best damn crew you ever hired. Wow. You don't know how long I've been waiting to hear that. Thanks, boss. You're not going to regret this.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? Yes, Captain. Beginning playback now.
There's viscera and death everywhere. Gunfire, gnashing teeth. The unemployed. For law's sake, if anyone's receiving this, please send help. What? No! No, no, no!
Captain, we are now capable of accessing the Roseway landing pad. Also, corporate protocol requires that all distress signals include a list of key personnel for retrieval. The embedded names are Anton Crane, Vaughn Cortez, and Orson Shaw. Mm-hmm. Remember that you are not insured.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your radio.
Rizzo's knock you out on a CCN 76 knock on the block. Have you seen this man? Reward offers for information needed to the report any sightings to your
Are
local.
those XF411s? And an old Yakita 37?
Was it time I wanted to be an engineer?
I could spend all day in here and not have looked at half the best stuff. It's all pretty worn, though.
Junlei Tennyson. I'm captain around here, but chief to my friends. Hope you don't mind the formal introduction. Groundbreaker doesn't see many visitors. No, it isn't. It's a mess. But it's my mess, so I'll take the compliment. Just so we understand each other, I'm the final word on the ship. The Mardits, the crew, the engineers, their family. I hope there won't be any problems while you're visiting. At ease. Nice to see an outsider with some working brain cells. So what brings you to Groundbreaker? I'm curious, even though 9 times out of 10 the answer's just passing through. Interesting. The powers that be paint an ugly picture of Monarch. Critters and such. Maybe someone in the Promenade can get you the right weapon for the job. We see a lot of the same faces coming and going, most of them board spies and corporate sprats. Makes it hard to trust outsiders. You seem different, so welcome aboard. Felix Millstone. Nice to see you out of docking bay. Keeping your nose clean?
Yes, ma'am. Been at least a couple weeks since my last nose-related incident.
Uh-huh. I'm glad to see you in a captain's custody. Just try not to steal any critical parts from my ship.
Don't know what you're talking about. I'm always honest around Ms. Tennyson.
I'd tell you to stay out of trouble, but I know you'll find it anyway. Whatever you do, just make sure I don't find out.
What? I didn't think you just...
Parvati, is it? That's a lovely name. What can I do for you?
I was just thinking, I haven't got much experience working with actual, real spaceships, Miss Junlei. Chief Junlei.
Junlei is fine.
Force of habit, I guess. Okay. Since you run a whole space station, I was wondering if... Well, maybe you could teach me some things. I could message you later, maybe?
I'd be happy to make the time, Parvati. You can ask me anything.
Wow, great! I'll do that then. Messages. Later. Oh, your name's pretty too. I should have said... Sorry. I like it. Honest. Sorry. Couldn't have done it without your moral support, Captain.
Now, if there's nothing else, there are other parts of the ship begging for my attention. You're right, I don't. The board is after two things, bits and power, and they only get it by sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. I like to think of myself as a nice person, but if that gaudy embassy of his was on fire, I might hold my breath a moment before activating the sprinkler system. The board wants control over Groundbreaker, and leeches like Udom Bedford will do anything to please their corporate masters. I placate them when I have something to offer, but I can also be a real hard-ass. It'd be a joy if I could kick out the corporate merchants and reclaim the docking fees in my lifetime. Too much of Groundbreaker's income is flowing in the wrong direction. I'd like to see that change. You've got my attention.
If you're hungry, you've come to the right place. I've got a fresh ground batch of spratwurst cooking. They're terra-fried to lock in the juices. How about a grinder's dozen? Fresh from the grinder, any hour.
Can't say I've seen you before. I take it you're a freighter captain? If you're here to better yourself, you'll have to wait. We're having a spot of trouble with our delivery service. Did he now? The mouth on that man. I swear his late mother'd be ashamed. He must be referring to Irion. I'm sure the fool's gotten himself into another scrape. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm ever gonna get my service mechanicals at this rate. I'd be grateful if you'd spare the time. We need his delivery soon as yesterday. Last he told me, he was taking a shortcut by Scylla. An asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. That's where I'd start, were I the adventuring type. You look out, though. The place is probably crawling with outlaws.
We're now in orbit above Roseway, Captain.
No guards, huh? I like this place already.
Clear the roadway. Obstruction of commerce is punishable by a fine of no less than 10,000 bits.
They left their own outside to die? Was it that bad?
If you've come to end my life, let's be on with it. Oh, not actually one of them, are you? Yes. Anton Crane, lead scientist here. I must apologize if my call diverted you. I may have panicked. Everything's under control now, though, truth be told. Yes, of course. Hours ago, a group of vicious malcontents fell upon us, shot up our labs and loosed our research subjects, the Raptidons. If those cretins get their hands on my research, well, they'll need not kill me. You have a point there. It most decidedly cannot make this situation any worse. All right, we were tasked with formulating a new and improved dental gel. One cannot exaggerate the benefits of good dental hygiene. May I continue? Very well. We'd formulated the world's most effective appetite-suppressant toothpaste. Yes, but don't kill their mother if it's avoidable. We've need of her to replenish our stocks. I think there's gas in the lab somewhere that can be used to put them out. The research is in the safe in my office. You'll have need of my code and keycard. The lab's entrance is in the side of a hill. You can't miss it if you just follow the road. You'll pass by the town's original... by the Grand Architect. Jameson. He's in the old lab. My protege. I sent him to retrieve some metabolic precursors, and I forgot him. That would surely lighten the weight on my conscience, as I am held to account for the well-being of every scientist here. Too many have been lost. Too many black marks against my name, as it were. And far too much paperwork. I'll thank you not to mistake my ambition for callousness. If my colleagues refuse to take their lives seriously, why should I? All they do is complain. They refuse to see the opportunity afforded us here.
I don't know about Dr. Crane's research, but we ought to find Mr. Jameson. He's gotta be all alone and scared.